I need to think about it. This is way too expensive. I'm gonna have to talk it over with my spouse. I don't know if you really have the functionality that we need. There is nothing worse than going through the entire sales process feeling like things are going really well, and then you get the dreaded objection. And you didn't even know it was coming. Yet, there are tactical step-by-step approaches that you can take in order to truly overcome really any objection. So in this video, I'm going to show you 9 steps to overcoming objections in sales. Check it out. Number 1, be comfortable. One of the biggest things that throws salespeople off when they get an objection is that they suddenly clam up and get really nervous. And when you get nervous or clam up or start to freak out, the prospect will immediately feel that, and they will feel the discomfort. And as a result, they're going to be much less likely to buy from someone who's completely thrown off by any type of an objection. So take a deep breath, be comfortable, and calm down. Number 2, pause. Now, when most salespeople get any kind of an objection, they immediately just go on a verbal tirade with the prospect and tell them all the reasons why they must buy. So what we want to do is be the complete opposite. And the first step is to simply pause. Slow the conversation down. In your head, take a 2 to 4 second beat and just slow the interaction down. Show your comfort, show your confidence. Number 3, slow your pace. Now again, when most salespeople get objections, the data shows that their pace picks up dramatically and they start speaking much more quickly, which again is indicating to the prospect that you are uncomfortable, and your discomfort will make them uncomfortable. And they're going to simply want to end the interaction if they see that you're suddenly speeding up your pace, getting uncomfortable, and just kind of overall freaking out. So slow your pace. Show your comfort in this space because, quite frankly, this is just a part of sales. Number 4, clarify. This is really the biggest step to overcoming any objection, because a lot of times we don't know why the objection is there in the first place. And so it's so important to ask. So again, most salespeople are simply going on a verbal tirade to overcome whatever objection. Instead, what we want to do is slow it down and simply clarify why they mentioned that in the first place. Something like, George, that's a really fair point. Help me understand though, what prompts you to mention that? Or, great question. Why do you say that? Or, really interesting thought. Help me understand why that's important to you. By getting clarification from the prospect, a lot of times you're going to understand that it's actually not even an objection. Or maybe they're going to tell you some information that's going to completely change the way you deal with that objection. Number 5, dig. So that means that once they clarify the objection, now you want to dig with spontaneous questions just to understand why that's important, or help me understand that, or unpack that for me, right? Going deep into the reasoning behind the objection. Because most of the time the objection is just the tip of the iceberg. We want to get to the bottom of the iceberg and we have to dig. It's usually a couple of questions in before we fully understand what's going on. Number 6, isolate. So once you understand a particular objection that the prospect has told you, you've clarified, you've dug, and now you understand it. Now we want to isolate it to find out if there are any other objections. Because it's just like in a fight with your spouse or your significant other. If your partner tells you, you know what, I'm really annoyed by the way you handled things at dinner the other day, if you suddenly try to solve that, and then you end up solving that, chances are they're going to say, oh, and also you did this a day before, right? We want to get all of the issues out on the table. So if the prospect says, you know what, the price is too high or whatever, we want to clarify, dig, and then we want to isolate by saying something like, so are there any other concerns that you have? And we want to get it all out on the table. Number 7, get everything on the table. I already spoiled it, but it's so important that we get everything on the table. Using the analogy of the fight with your spouse, you want to get every concern or worry or issue on the table before you start to solve. Because if you start solving like a game of whack-a-mole, you're going to just be constantly moving all over the place and you lose control of the sale. So you're going to repeat this process of pausing, clarifying, digging, isolating, the whole thing over again so you get everything on the table. Number 8, move on. So this is kind of a half step in a way. But one of the key things is that not every objection has to be handled. It doesn't have to be dealt with. So sometimes by going through the process of clarifying, digging, and then isolating, you find out that you actually don't really have to solve that problem. By just their clarifying the issue, it kind of gets it out on the table, and then you can simply move on. Number 9, get permission to share some ideas. So in the event that you can't just move on and you actually have to solve the particular issue, now it's the time to get permission to share some ideas. So you want to say something like, would it be okay if I just threw some ideas at you in terms of what we've talked about so far? This is the place where now you can solve the objection, or you can do your best. Of course, you don't necessarily have a solution to every single objection, but we want to first get permission to share some ideas. So we're not going full in trying to commit and solve everything, but really just share some ideas that can hopefully solve some of the more structural objections. But again, in most cases, you can simply move past it. You don't even have to get that permission to share some ideas because you've simply solved the objection as a result of digging into what their real concern is. So there are 9 steps to overcoming objections in sales. And if you enjoyed this video, then I have an amazing free training on the step-by-step formula to closing more deals. Just click right here to get registered instantly. Seriously, just click right here. This is an in-depth training that will help you close more deals at higher prices, all while generating more meetings. Also, if you got some value, please like this video below on YouTube and be sure to subscribe by clicking my face, which should be right about here, to get access to a new video just like this one each week.